What if the greatest, most absolute power you possess is the one you never use? Not the power to command, to acquire, or to seduce, but the power to withhold, the power of not participating. We live in an age that worships the signal. We are told from our first breath that to be alive is to be available, to be visible, to be connected, to be desired, to be reacting. Our value, we are taught, is measured by the noise we make and the noise we attract. What then happens when we intentionally cut the signal? What truth speaks when the body, the career, and the ego finally go silent? By the end of our time together, you will understand how to wield this silence not as an absence, but as the ultimate tool of self-possession and inner freedom. This is a journey into the heart of applied philosophy. It is not and cannot be a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, or financial advice. The principles we discuss are ancient, designed for reflection and rigorous self-examination. They are a compass, not a map, for your specific territory. Always consult qualified professionals for your individual circumstances. Our work here is to understand the architecture of the mind so that you may become your own master builder. We exist in a vast, frantic marketplace of validation. We are trained to perform, to present an image, to compete for the attention of the crowd. We broadcast our wins, our loves, our virtues, and even our sorrows, hoping for the echo of affirmation. A woman's worth, the culture whispers, is in her desirability. A man's worth is in his status and impact. We are taught that to withdraw from this game, to choose solitude, to let the body or the career fall quiet, is to fail. It is labeled as brokenness, as coldness, as a deficit. If you are not reaching out, the world assumes it is because nothing is reaching for you. The ancient Stoics looked at this arrangement and called it by its true name, slavery. Not slavery to a person, but slavery to impressions. Slavery to the opinions of others, which are erratic, fleeting, and utterly outside of our control. Seneca remarked that if you wish to be truly powerful, you must first become master of yourself. But how can you master yourself when your strings are being pulled by every passing judgment, every desire for applause, every fear of criticism? You are not a sovereign. You are a puppet. When the source of this conversation speaks of abstinence, we must immediately expand its definition. This is not merely about the body, though that is a potent expression of it. This is about philosophical abstinence. It is the deliberate, disciplined withdrawal of assent from the tyranny of external noise. It is the moment you decide to stop letting the outside world write the script for your inner life. This silence is not an absence of life. It is the presence of mind. It is the sacred pause where, for the first time, you can hear the difference between the world's demands and your own reasoned choice. Why does this stillness make us, and others, so profoundly uneasy? Because it is a mirror. When you stop participating in the dance of desire and validation, your silence reflects back to others the frantic, unexamined nature of their own performance. They label you cold or incomplete, not because you are, but because your self-possession highlights their own fragmentation. But more than that, the silence is terrifying to us. We have used noise, the noise of relationships, of work, of stimulation, of ambition, to drown out a fundamental question. If all this were stripped away, what would be left? This is the first great hurdle. When you step back, the silence is not peaceful. It is loud. It is an ache. The source material accurately calls it excruciating. But as Stoic parts ways with a Jungian interpretation here, this ache is not a shadow in the mystical sense. It is the raw, physical sensation of withdrawal. You have been addicted for decades to a potent drug, external validation. Your entire identity, your sense of safety, has been built upon it. When you abstain from that drug, your psyche screams. It tells you that you are wasting time, that you are failing, that you will be forgotten. This is not a message from the soul. It is the death rattle of your false judgments. This is where the real work begins. The Stoics gave us a map for this territory. They called it the 3 disciplines. And the first, the most fundamental, is the dichotomy of control. This is the sorting mechanism for a clear life. Epictetus, a former slave, taught it with brutal simplicity. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Up to us are our judgments, our choices, our impulses to act, our character. Not up to us are everything else. Our body, our reputation, our wealth, the opinions of others, the weather, the past, the future. The modern world is designed to make you forget this distinction. It is a machine built to convince you that you must control the uncontrollable and that you are a failure if you do not. Your task in the newfound silence is to sit with that ache and begin to sort. This feeling of loneliness, is the event being alone up to me? No. Is my judgment about it? Being alone is unbearable. It means I am unlovable. Up to me? Yes, absolutely. The silence, then, is not a void. It is a forge. It is the space where you finally stop reacting to the heat and start shaping the metal of your own mind. Consider the case of Marcus, not Aurelius, but a modern executive. For 30 years, his entire identity was his title. He was managing director. He was the provider, the leader, the man with the answers. His worth was measured by the size of his team, the respect of his peers, the performance of his portfolio. He confused his role with his self. He had attached his entire sense of well-being to things squarely in the category of not up to us. And then, one Tuesday, the market turned, the company restructured, and his role was eliminated. The silence that followed was deafening. He was no longer someone's. He was stripped bare, just as the source material describes. And he collapsed. Not because he lacked money for a time, but because he lacked an internal foundation. His entire life had been a performance for others, and when the audience left, the man disappeared. This is the preventable downfall. Marcus had built his house on the ice of external validation. He had never heard of the Inner Citadel. He had mistaken the noise of success for the substance of a life. His ache was the crushing weight of a lifetime of false judgments, all coming due at once. This is the confrontation the source speaks of. It is an initiation. It is an initiation into the second great Stoic discipline, the discipline of ascent. This is the moment-to-moment practice of guarding the gates of your mind. An impression appears. She didn't text back. He got the promotion. I am being ignored. The untrained mind immediately assents to the impression and adds a story. She is losing interest. I am boring. He is better than me. I am a failure. I am invisible. I am worthless. This right here is the only place you can ever be harmed. It is not the event, Epictetus would say, but the judgment about the event that causes distress. The silence you are cultivating, this abstinence from the world's frantic scramble, is your training ground. You are not withdrawing to hide. You are withdrawing to train. You are learning to see an impression without immediately signing off on the disastrous story it brings. She didn't text back. Pause. That is an external fact. Is it bad? Is it good? It is neither. It is data. My judgment, this means I am boring, is an internal choice. I can withhold assent. I can choose to say she is busy, or perhaps she is not interested. That is her choice, and it is outside my control. My worth is not dependent on her reply. My work is to be a person of character, regardless. This sounds simple. It is the hardest work a human can do. It is the true shadow work. It is a line-by-line audit of every belief that causes you fear, anxiety, or rage. And in that silence, as you practice this, you begin to feel your own sovereignty return. This is not a magnetic power, as the source suggests. That is still an external, a desire to influence others. No, this is the immovable power of prohairesis, your ruling faculty, your power of choice. It is the realization that nothing external can force you to make a false judgment. You are, and always have been, the one in control of your inner world. Let's look at a different path. The story of Elena. Elena's identity was built on being a partner. She moved from relationship to relationship, terrified of the silence of being alone. Like the source describes, she equated desire with value. Her participation in the dance of desire was her proof of life. When a long-term relationship ended, the ache was overwhelming. Her friends, her family, society itself whispered the same thing. Get back out there, you're wasting time. The noise was intense, but this time something broke differently. The hollowness was too profound. She stopped. She chose the silence. For months, it was excruciating. She felt the full force of her addiction to validation. She met her shadow, which was, in Stoic terms, her core judgment. To be alone is to be a failure. This was her delayed awakening. But instead of running from that judgment, she sat with it. She interrogated it. Is this true? Says who? Is my character dependent on my relationship status? Is my virtue less when I am alone? Slowly, painstakingly, she began to redirect her energy. This is the third discipline, the discipline of desire and aversion. The Stoic desires only what is in their control, their own virtue, their own reasoned choices. They are averse only to what is in their control, their own vice, their own poor judgments. Elena began to desire her own integrity more than she desired a partner. She began to desire her own peace of mind more than she desired a text message. She began to desire her own self-possession, to use the source's excellent phrase, more than the intoxicating feeling of being wanted. She did not become cold. She became precise. Her energy, once scattered in a search of validation, a perfect description from the source, became consolidated. She began to cultivate her own garden rather than begging for flowers at her neighbor's fence. What the world saw as loneliness, she began to experience as communion with her own ruling faculty. She was no longer a victim of her attachments. She was the architect of her responses. This is not self-denial. This is self-initiation. This leads us to the credible transformation. Consider Sarah, an architect. Like our first case, Marcus, she faced a professional catastrophe. A flagship project she designed years in the making was suddenly canceled by the client. due to a shift in their finances. Her reputation was tied to it. The silence of her main project, the body of her work, was gone. The external world delivered a brutal blow. But Sarah had been practicing. She had been a student of this philosophy. She had used premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of adversity. She had, in her mind, practiced this very failure. She had asked herself, what if this project collapses? What if my reputation is damaged? What, in that scenario, is mine to control? She had already identified her inner citadel, her integrity, her skill, her resilience, her choice to act with justice and courage. So when the blow landed, it hurt. The Stoics are not unfeeling robots. They feel pain, grief, disappointment. They are human. But the story, she told herself, was different from Marcus's. He said, I am nothing. She said, this is a formidable challenge. The event is external. My response is mine. Her sovereignty was not theoretical. It was tested. She did not bend. She did not scatter her energy blaming the client or defending her ego. She consolidated. She grieved the loss cleanly for a day. Then she turned her full attention to what was next, supporting her team, salvaging what she could, and designing her next move. This is what the source means when it says, it will find a woman in sovereignty. It is not that she is magnetic or fiery in the romantic sense, though she may be. It is that her center of gravity is internal. She does not seek a project to complete her. She embodies excellence, and projects are drawn to that. She does not seek a partner to validate her. She is whole, and she chooses to share that wholeness. This is the distinction we must draw with a philosopher like Machiavelli. Machiavelli is concerned with external power, how to manage the impressions of others to achieve a worldly aim. He is still a slave to the outcome, to the resultee. The Stoic is concerned with internal power, how to manage your own impressions regardless of the outcome. The Machiavellian wants to control the game. The Stoic wants to be free from the game. The power the Stoic finds in silence is not the power to manipulate the world. It is the power to be unmanipulable by it. This woman, this architect, this person of sovereignty is no longer available for dilution, to borrow the source's words, because she knows her own substance. She has chosen it. The world may misread her. They may call her distant or intimidating. They are not wrong. She is distant from their unexamined judgments, from their desperate need for validation. She is intimidating in the way that any self-possessed, integrated human being is intimidating to those who are fragmented. This journey, this abstinence, is the return to essence. It is the realization that your true self is not the collection of roles you play, the titles you hold, or the people who desire you. Your true self is your prohairesis, your moral purpose, your ability to choose in this moment to respond with virtue. That is the only thing that cannot be taken from you. It is the voice of the soul the source is reaching for. It is not a mystical whisper. It is the clear, unshakable voice of your own reason. And when that voice speaks, it does speak only in truth. The truth that was promised at the beginning is this: when the body, the ego, and the career go silent, the logos speaks. And it says, you are free. You have always been free. You just forgot. You mistook your chains for jewelry. The world will always be loud. The marketplace of validation will always be open, hawking its cheap goods. Your task is not to silence the world that is impossible and outside your control. Your task is to build the inner citadel, so that the noise no longer disturbs your peace. Your task is to find the stillness within the storm. Your value is not in your availability, it is in your integrity. It is not in being desired, it is in being virtuous. This is not a path of emptiness. It is a path of precision. It is not a rejection of love or connection or ambition. It is the foundation for them. It is how you learn to love from a place of wholeness, not need. It is how you learn to build from a place of purpose, not ego. It is how you walk with yourself as your most honest companion. As the Source puts it, as you leave this space, carry one question with you. Tonight, before you sleep, find one small judgment you made today, one flicker of annoyance, one pang of envy, one jolt of anxiety, and ask it with the calm authority of a philosopher. Is this judgment truly mine? Is it true? Is it helpful? Or did I simply assent to it out of habit, out prey of fear? That is the beginning. That single question, practiced in the silence, is the key to the fortress. This discipline of assent, this guarding of the mind, is the bedrock of a resilient life. But it is, by nature, defensive. How do we move to the offense? How do we build anti-fragility? How do we train for the inevitable storms before they hit the shore? The ancients had a powerful and often misunderstood tool for this, a way of practicing disaster in order to strip it of its power. It is a difficult but essential part of the path, a way to look into the darkness, and by doing so, to master our fear of it.